The roadmap for the wildest ride in our lives is inside us thanks to our DNA. So would you be brave enough to discover where it leads? 12 New Zealanders have, and they're about to find out what really runs in their blood. Weatherman Sam Wallace and actress Amanda Billing are seeking the truth behind old family myths, from rumours of royal connections to the origins of mysterious dark colouring. So brace yourselves, it's going to be a fascinating ride.
Oh, it's just so sad and messed up.
What part of me's Italian?
Analysing our own DNA can uncover markers that show where we've come from, and following those markers can lead us all around the world and connect us with relatives we never even knew we had. Action-mad weather presenter Sam Wallace is no stranger to danger, but he's never dived into his own past, and that's about to change. His DNA results are in the lab, but before we reveal those, let's see what the man himself knows about his own history.
Family for me is everything. It's the bones of everything for me, you know? It's where I get my sense of humour. It's where I get my lightheartedness. I can be lighthearted on telly because I've got the support of my family, you know? So it's almost like the family has been my framework in which to work around. I still don't really know where I'm from. There's a lot of olive in the skin. So despite being Pākehā, I suspect there's been a milkman snuck in there along the way. From speaking to my mum, I think the boat came out from Scandinavia. That's one of the guesses. The other guess kind of goes towards Dad's side, which is more Scottish and English. So is there a William Wallace in there? Who knows?
Ah, hello, Sam.
Richard,
Welcome to the Nerve Centre.
lovely to be here.
Are you ready, Sam?
I don't know.
How are you feeling?
Apprehensive?
There's talk of you having maybe some blue blood in your family line.
There's Danish blood in there. Well, I think there's Danish blood in there. And some of the rallies have been throwing some stories out there about a man called Boris Larsen, who was royalty.
Mm.
That'd be nice, because he's a rich man.
Well, there's a few queens in my family as well, actually.
I believe so.
We're going to show you a world map now of your DNA. If you look over in that direction there. The lab has found your DNA has 60.9% British and Irish markers and a high percentage of Northern European segments, which means ancestry from Iceland, Finland, Norway, and Sweden. You also have 4.9% Scandinavian markers, which gives weight to those Danish family stories you've heard so much about. But there's still a couple of surprises to come. Comparing your DNA results with others around the world has found 924 DNA genetic matches.
Really?
Yeah. And I feel pretty sure you'd like to meet a few of them, wouldn't you? Well, that's all you actually need to know for now. You keep this device at hand.
Okay.
Okay, and your travel details will come through shortly, and so, bon voyage.
Thank you so much. Wish me luck.
Sam might need to pack a silver spoon, as it appears that his Danish cousins aren't the only royalty showing up in his DNA.
Maybe it'll be Denmark, that's Mum's side, or Dad's an English Wallace from Cornwall. But I'm still hugely in the dark. But it's very exciting. So we've done Bond Street, Piccadilly, Mayfair, all quite prestigious places on the Monopoly board. Not a bad place to be. Yeah, I am excited about finding out who my ancestors are. It'd be really nice, and this might be a weird thing to say, but it'd be really nice to meet some of these people and to look back at them and maybe see similarities in their faces that I see in my family or in me. Evening, Sam. If you follow my directions, you'll find yourself outside a relative's house. Oh, that? Really? Royalty? Come on, Richard. I need more, mate. I need more.
All right, Sam. Focus. Our X and Y chromosomes have small markers in them. Scientists have put these markers into groups called haplogroups. You and Prince Philip share the H haplogroup. It connects relatives anywhere from 2 to 2,000 generations back. In your case, DNA shows it's a distant relationship on your mother's side.
It all looks very promising. First destination is Buckingham Palace. So we've probably got the good side out of the way. We'll probably spend the rest of the time visiting prisons.
Sam. Records show that your Wallaces lived in England in the early 1500s, but then the paper trail goes dead cold. However, your DNA tests contain hints about where they lived before that, so you're heading to Scotland.
Scotland? We're going to Scotland? Amazing.
Sam's results place him in Group 3 of the Wallace Y DNA project, which proves that he does have connections to the Scottish arm of the family, and that opens the door to William Wallace, better known as Braveheart, being a relative.
And that's what makes DNA so interesting, is that you finally get a chance to kind of go beyond the family tree and actually, track down some of those historical parts of your history.
We've also discovered that Wallace didn't have any children, so Sam can't be a direct descendant, but it is possible they share ancestors. Sam's in Elderslie, Braveheart's birthplace, to meet the conveners of the William Wallace Society and learn more about this legend.
William Wallace, cheers.
William Wallace.
Cheers. Lunch. I am a Wallace. What's your excuse? What are you guys here?
I think it's just being a patriot. It's an extension of what you feel in there. I think when Braveheart came out, most folk, who's William Wallace, and they maybe went on to educate themselves.
I had never heard of William Wallace until I saw the film Braveheart,
Yeah, right.
and then went straight to the library and took out everything, because that history is deliberately being suppressed. It is not
you don't
allowed
get
to be
it at
taught in school.
So, is everything behind Braveheart, is it truth, or has the story been embellished?
All these things happened.
At the end of the day, it's a film.
it's
But
a
for what we do, it's made it easier for us because William Wallace has been reincarnated, really. There's a letter which William Wallace had, which was given to him by the French king, and it was basically given Wallace authority to go and see the Pope, to obviously plead for Scottish independence. That was taken from William Wallace when he was captured in 1305, and it's been in England ever since. David Ross, who's our ex-convener, started a campaign to get that particular letter back, and the letter's now back in Scotland.
700 years, that's quite a project.
Yes, it was, yes.
Can I get a photocopy and put it on my wall? Like every Wallace would want that.
You certainly can.
It's funny, it's one of these things that the more you kind of learn, the more you realise you don't know, and the more you want to know.
Yeah.
Well, don't feel left out because you're just learning on
Yeah.
this trip. We've only been learning maybe since we left school because we had to educate ourselves.
Right.
Our Scottish history is who we are, it's where we come from. That runs through our veins. It's the most important thing about us, is the fact that we are Scottish. This is our country.
They're so passionate about Scotland. They're so passionate about preserving documents and the history of William Wallace, and here I am as a Wallace, and it's not something I've really investigated or looked into. And I feel like all of this is kind of lighting a fire within me to go and research and go back and to learn as much as I possibly can.
Coming up, Amanda discovers she has ancestors with a taste for adventure, while weatherman Sam Wallace is on the trail of potential links to William Braveheart Wallace.
Here it is, Wallace Castle.
Using available records, we can trace our family tree back, perhaps hundreds of years. However, following our DNA can lead us back thousands, even tens of thousands of years. Now, actress Amanda Billing is about to discover links to her very ancient cultures and clans, and the markers in her DNA point to some very unique ancestors. But first of all, let's see what she thinks is lurking in her past, shall we?
I get asked a bit where I'm from, which is odd to me. I'm like, I'm a New Zealander. I would like to know where the dark hair and the dark eyes come from. Sometimes I get asked if I'm part Māori, because dark eyes, dark hair. I've got lots of freckles, and my skin's not completely olive, but I know that I have Welsh ancestry and Celtic ancestry, and I think the Celts are descended from people from Spain, aren't they? Isn't that what I heard somewhere? I'm not quite sure. I feel like I've got a lot to find out. I'd like to think that my ancestors, however long ago, were creative and courageous and curious people who like adventure and like to seek new things. Yeah. But maybe, I don't know, maybe they were just couch potatoes who liked to hang out and not do much. Hi.
Hello, welcome. Welcome, sit yourself down. It's so nice to see you.
Yes, you too.
I've heard so much about you. A consummate actor, performer. Your parents, were they born in New Zealand?
Yes.
So do you know where your forebears came from? Are there stories inside the family that reveal their past?
There's tales, but they're quite general. So I know that I'm from places like Ireland and Scotland and Wales and England. And my grandfather, my mum's dad, used to say that we were from Spain. And
You're interested in the origins of your colouring as well.
yeah, when I used to teach English as a second language a very, very long time ago, my students would often ask me if I was from New Zealand, and I often found that quite a strange question. I'd think, oh, do I not look like a Kiwi?
Well, you have an olive complexion, don't you?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, well, we are gonna get there. We've got the results in, and I think we should look at those over on the screen there. Your Northern European results reflect your Celtic ancestry. You've got Southern European DNA,
Yes.
which may well be from Spain or Portugal.
Yeah.
So there may be a Spanish princess in your past.
And you have a hint of East Asian DNA. That's China, Mongolia,
Really?
or perhaps even Japan.
But there's still a couple of surprises to come. And now the lab have also discovered 916 DNA matches for you.
So you're going to have to prepare to meet some of those relatives rather shortly. All that's left for me to do is to give you this,
Yes.
which I wish you to keep about your person at all time, because
Yes.
this is the way we're going to keep in contact with one another. And all that's left to say is bon voyage.
Thank you so much.
revoir.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
How wonderful. Amanda may need a strong stomach when it comes for tales from her family's past, because blood has been spilt on more than just the one occasion.
Okay.
Ah, hello, Amanda. I know you'd hoped that your relatives would be brave adventurers. Well, we found a cousin in Oregon City, USA, with a great American frontier tale to tell you.
Excellent.
These days, Oregon City is a bucolic town on the outskirts of Portland. But it was once the final stop in a very long journey, and it's here Amanda's meeting a DNA relative.
I'm about to meet a cousin of mine, and I don't know what kind of cousin she is. I'm wondering if we're gonna get along, if the conversation's going to flow, or if it's gonna be awkward, because, I don't know, you meet your family and you just assume that you should click, but who knows? Here's an elk, and here's my cousin. Hi.
Hello.
I'm Amanda.
I'm Jessica. Nice to meet you.
Nice
Welcome
to meet
to
you
the States.
too. Thank you very much.
Are you excited?
I am excited, and I've been a little bit nervous.
Really?
Yeah,
Well, it's kind of different meeting family.
yeah, totally.
But for us to be related, it would have to be probably through the Irish, Scottish, English side.
Okay.
New Zealand had a migration pattern in Europe the way the United States did.
Yes.
So it would be really easy for a family to, one go one direction and one go the other.
Yeah, it's a
And
frontier thing
Yep.
that we have in common.
adventurous relatives.
Go west or south.
DNA markers show that Amanda and Jessica share ancestors around 300 to 400 years ago. Now they're putting their heads together to find the branch of the family tree that connects them.
My tree stays in the United States going back to 1629.
Wow.
We are supposed to be related 3 to 5th cousins,
Yeah.
which we could be about 4th.
Okay.
It's an estimate. And for that to work, it would have to be about a 4th to a 5th great-grandparent in common.
Well, one of the names that jumps out on here, and there aren't very many, is Saunders.
Which in my case is about 11 generations back.
Yeah.
So 11 generations does not work. So we're probably related somewhere in this
Yes.
area of
And
time.
having a look on here, there's Anne Wilson.
Anne Wilson was living in Pennsylvania in 1800s, and her father and mother also were living in Pennsylvania, and his name was Joseph Wilson.
Yeah.
And so that's as far back as I currently have on that family.
Okay.
But we're looking at 1740s, 1750s.
So I have a Mary Wilson in my tree. She's my 5th great-grandmother, I think, but she's from Scotland.
So she could be a sibling or a cousin.
Yeah.
Because a sibling and a cousin would share the same amount of DNA with a grandparent. So that's probably where we could have a connection.
I'm definitely encouraged. You know, I look at Anne Wilson and I'm like, maybe she's it. Maybe she's the one.
Maybe we found our connection.
Yeah, maybe we found our connection. Maybe she talked with her hands too.
It's very possible because I've been doing that my whole life and my dad's been making fun of me.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. This is what makes all of this so wonderful is that, we live a world apart from each other, but DNA connects us.
Yeah. So Jessica's going to see if she can find out more about the Wilsons, and I'll ask my family about Mary Wilson. My mum loves this kind of thing. She'll definitely crack the paper trail, but even if she doesn't, DNA definitely proves that we are related. Jessica and I have the common ground of being descended from frontier people, I suppose, even though our frontiers were very different and involved different journeys, but each of those journeys was physically risky.
So the Oregon Trail was a really big journey for the pioneers of those days. It was 2,000 miles long, and they had to walk that entire way. The main reason that people decided to cross the Oregon Trail and take that risk of that journey was to receive free land in Oregon.
I'm going to cherish this thing
Yes.
that says, I own part of the United States. That's right.
Well, Amanda's relatives may well have navigated the Oregon Trail, and if they did, the stars, paper, and a compass would have shown them the way. Today, however, there are other options.
Turn left at DNA Boulevard.
When it comes to knowing our ancestry, written records have always been king. But now there's a high-tech option out there too. Now, by taking a DNA test, we can discover the cultures and the countries that our ancestors hailed from, because the places they lived, the food they ate, and who they chose to have children with have all left marks in their DNA which they've handed on down to us. Now, these markers form a kind of road map which allows us to trace where they came from, and all we have to do is look. And now for Amanda, the next stop on her DNA trail is in Wales. Coming up, Sam finds a relative with a real-life armory, while Amanda's about to find Celtic ancestry that could link her to bloody battles on the Welsh coast.
Many years ago, the Vikings used to come up the estuary here.
Oh, the
Sands
rivers.
turned red with blood.
Actress Amanda Billing has often wondered where her dark colouring stems from, and we, here at the DNA Detectives, have found an explanation. And it's a story that begins in Wales.
I knew that we would come to the British Isles because I know for sure about some aspects of my ancestry. I didn't know that I had Welsh ancestry until a few years ago when my mum told me, and I thought, well, that kind of makes sense. Hiya.
Hello, who are you?
I'm Amanda. I'm
Hi.
from New Zealand.
What part of New Zealand are you from?
I live in Auckland, which is the big city in the north of the country.
Your name isn't Bell, is it?
No, Billing.
Billing. My relatives are in Auckland.
Are they?
Archbishop Stanton. No.
No. I'm a bit ignorant about that stuff like that.
Beautiful place, though.
Yes, it is. My grandfather, my mum's dad, he was a great one for pulling your leg, and he would say that we were Spanish. Dark hair and the dark eyes and the sort of olivey skin. And he used to say, Spanish princess or Spaniard and all this kind of thing.
Amanda, your southern European markers may be from the Basque region of Spain. DNA testing has found evidence that the Basques went to Wales about 7,000 years ago and are responsible for the dark Welsh looks. But wait, there's more. Find Red Wolf Bay on the Isle of Anglesey. Mark's working on his boat there. He knows how the bay got its name, and that leads to a feisty branch of the family girl.
Hey, Mark.
Yes.
I'm Amanda Billing. I'm from New Zealand.
Oh, Amanda.
Hi. I was told that I would find you here because you have a story for me about how this bay was named.
All right, yes.
Yeah.
I can do that for you.
Go on, tell me.
Its Welsh name is Traethcoch, and Traethcoch in Welsh means red beach.
Mm-hmm.
And there is actually a Viking settlement a few miles down the road there, was discovered a number of years ago. And apparently they used to come up the estuary, as Vikings tend to do, and they had a bit of a ding-dong with the locals, and the sands turned red with blood. There's another name for this particular little area here, Porthlondir, which is the harbour of the long boats.
Yep.
Well, the Vikings came all the way around Britain, didn't they? There's a headland over there called the Great Orme, in Llandudno, which is about 40 miles in that direction, and Orme is an old word. I believe it's an old Norse word for headland.
Yep.
So there's another Viking connection.
Vikings, eh?
Mm-hmm.
I might be a Viking as well.
You might be a Viking.
As
You
well
may
as
well
a
be a
Basque.
Viking.
Okay, so I thought that I would be coming here because of the Welsh heritage that I have, but having spoken to Mark, his story makes me think that I have Viking heritage as well. So even though the story is horrible, I'm quite excited about finding out what's next. Oh.
Bingo, you're right on the money. Your DNA shows a 1.1% Scandinavian markers, but the family tree doesn't contain any obvious Scandinavian names. So, the DNA detectives think a Viking may be the culprit. So you're off to an old Norse kingdom where the Celts and Viking cultures collided thousands of years ago. Your flight to the Isle of Man leaves in the morning. Meanwhile, weatherman Sam Wallace is soaking up his Scottish history and is hungry for more. And we're more than happy to oblige, Sam.
Richard.
Sam, you're up to speed on the Wallaces, so you get a free night in the old family pile. Not promising breakfast. In fact, there are 2 castles in the family to choose from. Either way, you'll need to pack warm, Mr. Weatherman. But you should have known that.
Yeah, there it is. Wallace Castle. I think this is the most elaborate joke I've ever been set up for. I guess I got big-headed. I thought the Wallaces, it's gonna be lovely. You can only imagine. Check that out. It was still pretty neat thinking that some of the rallies had lived in there. I like that. Yeah, thanks, Richard. I think I'll try my luck on the next castle.
Option 2 is Killeen Castle. It belonged to the Scottish Kennedy clan that one of your grandsesters married into. You share DNA with those who've called it home, and you can claim it just a little.
It's not too bad, is it? In terms of a castle, it's about exactly what you want. It's got everything. It's got the parapets, the moats around the front. You've got sea views, cannons. It's lovely.
These Kennedys were of Celtic Norse stock, so there's a touch of Viking in the mix. That could explain some of the Scandinavian markers that were in Sam's test. Killeen Castle is also where Lord David Kennedy, the current chief of the Scottish Kennedy clan, was conceived. Keeper of the castle, Gordon, has offered Sam a bed for the night, along with a guided tour.
Hello, welcome to Killeen Castle, Cydmilifalshire. In case you're wondering what that means, look down at my feet. 100,000 welcomes in the Scottish Gaelic.
I love it.
In you come.
All right.
Well, what do you think of this?
This is amazing.
Yeah.
It's an armoury. Just gorgeous.
There's over 1,000 weapons in this room, and they're all original. There's no reproductions in here at all.
So they're actually been used in war to shoot at people.
Yeah. The British at that time in the sort of 18th century, they seemed to be at war with everybody.
It's staggering to think that, you know, the blades have been embedded into someone or the pistols have been shot at people.
Well, we don't think about that.
Do you not?
No, we don't think about that. We try not to say that to visitors as they come
Okay,
in.
sorry.
They won't get around the castle very much if we tell them about the kind of bloody history of the place.
Well, this castle is absolutely littered with furniture, artworks, just weapons, just amazing things, like literally littered. And I can only imagine how much it's all worth. How much can be mine? No, it's not like that, is it? It's just about appreciating it and knowing that deep down inside my DNA, there's some kind of link to it. And that's kind of enough. So last night at the castle, something quite cool happened. The Lord turned up, Lord David Kennedy, who is a distant relation of mine if you go back far enough in time. He was fantastic, a great lad. And it was really cool because we have a lot in common. We both share a passion for motorcycles and cars, and he had a collection. So we spent about an hour talking about them, chewing the fat. It was just brilliant. And it's quite cool when you kind of think about your DNA, you know, it goes so far back, but then we share these kind of interests. It's quite neat. Richard?
Sam, your DNA also shows links to a population that didn't leave home for centuries, the Sardinians. Now, they're a very specific group, genetically speaking, often live to 100 years of age.
The Sardinians? I feel like I should know this.
Yes, you probably should. Sardinia's an island, an Italian island.
Italian?
That's right, Sam, Italian.
Are we going to Italy? What part of me's Italian?
Coming up, Sam gets a taste of his Italian heritage, while Amanda discovers her Viking ancestors looked a little different to what she imagined.
Dark-haired Vikings.
Blue-eyed Vikings.
Amanda knows she has Celtic forebears, and her DNA test revealed traces of Scandinavian DNA. Her Scandinavian and Celtic forebears could well have met here on the Isle of Man around 1,500 years ago.
My DNA is a mishmash because people went on journeys. And I know that sounds obvious, but that ignites my imagination. I think, oh, okay, so where did they go? Why did they go there? Who were they? And of course, I can't answer those questions, really. But contemplating the answer to those questions is exciting.
Now, the Vikings aren't around to give you a welcome, which, given their traditions, I think you should be supremely grateful for. But go to the main square. Local guide Frank is primed to give you the Viking royal tour.
Hi, Frank. How are you?
Very well.
Now, I'm very good. Where are we off to?
Now, Frank's written a book on the Isle of Man. Well, one of them, anyway. There's a lot to cover. Stop one is Peel Castle for a little bit of Viking history.
So, this word Viking, what does that mean? Where does it come from?
Vic
Yeah.
is from the harbour, the creek. They tended to be calling it going a Viking or a Viking when they were off on their marauding parties or exploration parties from Norway. It got applied to them as a group.
Before the Vikings came here in the 9th century.
9th century, yes.
This was a Celtic stronghold.
Oh, very much. It was a totally Celtic world.
Yep.
And it hadn't been affected as England and other parts of the UK were with the coming of the Romans. They never came here, other than perhaps in a minor way, to trade.
It's the stories that grab me. And I recognise in a way the value of every single human being's life and that their story is important just simply because they've lived it.
He was poisoned for not taking part in a plot against Elizabeth I.
He probably would have had his head cut off either way. It's the stories about my ancestors that I would go looking for rather than the intricacy of the family tree pattern.
What is this? This looks like a henge.
No, not quite.
Oh my gosh! What? Which beneath a low cairn of stones, the richly adorned body of a Viking settler was buried. Sacrificed and buried with him were a woman, his horse, and other livestock.
Yes, this was one of a number of Viking burials. We've had 2 ship burials, one at this end and one right at the north of the island. The Vikings were coming into the island first, about the year 800.
Yes, and so this is
But by about 850, they were settling. The house down the bottom, that's Balladule House, and that it can be translated, the Bala is place of, and the dual can be, dualish can be dark, and in the sense of the dark strangers. So these were the dark-haired Vikings rather than the fair-haired, blue-eyed Vikings.
I didn't know
Oh, yes.
I just, it's my ignorance. I'd just make the assumption that all Vikings were red-headed or blonde.
Well, there was a whole series of as it were, tribes working in that area. That mix, really, that's the thing here. You've got that mix of Celt and Viking. And that's what makes the island what it is, really.
Yeah, and that's why I'm here, because it's about the Scandinavian DNA that constitutes just a tiny part of my DNA. It's possible that a Viking, I don't know, maybe a dark Viking, maybe a blonde Viking. He met someone and fell in love and had, you know.
Stranger things.
Stranger things have happened. Before I came away on this trip, I really didn't know anything about Vikings. I had a picture in my head of what they looked like, you know, their boats and helmets with horns on them, which of course aren't historically accurate. I know that now. I was pretty ignorant, really, of most things to do with Viking culture, and now I feel very privileged to have come so close to it by going to that Viking burial ground where there's this ancient history, and to be spoken to about it by someone who's so knowledgeable. It's such a pleasure. It sparks my interest. Makes me want to know more about these things.
And that, of course, is the Viking from
that gravesite.
Balladule, with the various bits of metalwork and so on that were found accompanying him in the grave.
Yep. I feel, I don't know, a kind of kinship. And it's really nice. I look at every human being that I see in a different way now. It's not like, are you my cousin? Well, it kind of is. I'm looking at them going, are you my... Just pay much closer attention to people. If you open up discussions like this, I think every single human being is interested in not only in themselves, but where they're from and who their people are.
Meanwhile, Sam is in Sardinia because his ancient ancestors came from this Italian island. Sam only has small traces, but their DNA is very distinctive. Hi, Sam. Tomorrow you're having afternoon tea with an old relative, but in the meantime, make yourself at home.
Do I feel Italian? No, I don't think I could feel any further away from home, to be honest. But in saying that, I really like what I see. It's a charming place to be. So, a long way from home, these guys have got sea urchin pizza, which we probably know as kinner pizza. You can see it. It's the kinner there and there. It's kind of delicate, I guess. But it's crunchy. There's actually a shell in it, I guess. You wanna try? He didn't even eat it. Come on, mate. Let's go get some steak. Some people have the opportunity to get online and trace their heritage like that and go through documents. I mean, this is next level. We have the power to travel around and find whatever we can find, you know, whether it's a living relative or the gravesite of a dead one. I mean, that's an amazing opportunity. It's pretty cool. Wow. This is a Scrambler Ducati. And this means a lot to me, this bike, because I co-own my bikes with my dad. It's something that we've always bonded over.
We've been discussing what bike that we wanted, and my dad, his mind set on this bike. So we've turned up in Italy, and the first bike I see is the bike my dad is dreaming of right now. So that's pretty cool. A world away, but those little threads of DNA doing this again.
Coming up, Sam meets a grandcestor who's 110 years old, and Amanda uncovers the tragic circumstances that brought one of her forebears down under.
Because, you know, if this hadn't happened, I wouldn't be here.
Actress Amanda Billing has always wanted to uncover the origins of her dark colouring, and with Welsh ancestry, Spanish blood, and stories of potential Viking connections, we can cross that off the list. But there's still a dark tale needing some investigation.
I found out that on my dad's side, my great-great-great-grandmother, Isabel, she was sent to Tasmania. I don't know anything really about her, but her family wiped her from existence, basically. She will have been a teenager on a boat in the early 1800s going to Tasmania with a whole lot of criminals. That's just mind-boggling.
Amanda, the cards were very much stacked against Isabel. She was found guilty of incest, and after she bore a child to her father, an aunt alerted the authorities. She was tried in Edinburgh and sentenced to life. It may not sound lucky, but being sent to Tasmania to serve out her sentence did give her a second chance at life. We've arranged access to the accounts of her trial for you to read.
Far out. This was just a story that my parents told me about when I was asked if there was anything in my background. And it was a bare bones thing. I had no idea there was all of this stuff. William Cuthbert came to the house about 6 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, and that when his daughter heard him coming, she sprung from bed, declared she would rather suffer death than go into his presence again, and concealed herself beneath the bed. Jesus. What a tragic mess. It's very weird. There's all of this detail. Before it was just this thing that my parents had told me about that none of us really knew about, and now I've got all of this and I don't know entirely how I feel about that. And I don't know how my family's going to feel about it either. It's weird. Because, you know, if this hadn't happened, I wouldn't be here. William Cuthbert has, in the meantime, absconded, and I have not learned where he has gone to. She's sent away. A long way away from him.
It's so sad. Oh, it's just so sad and messed up. Far out. I don't know what I think and feel about it. Far out. Because if it hadn't happened and my great-great-great-great aunt hadn't said something, I wouldn't be here. But it's awful. But thank God she went to Tasmania, and thank God she met her husband. And had my great-great-granddad, I think. Thank goodness. Far out.
Meanwhile, in the Sardinian capital, Cagliari, Sam is about to meet Nona. They share a haplogroup, which means they have ancient ancestors in common. And now Sardinians are renowned for their longevity, and Nona is 110 years young.
So we've written down questions and we're just working our way through them.
What is the secret to live up to 110 years? Ho vissuto in Sardegna, sono sempre stata a casa mia e sono venuta da mia figlia. Morto mio marito, sono vissuta lì.
The secret is that I've always lived with my husband on my place, and now I live with my daughter who looks after me.
Beautiful.
Sono stata sempre
I've never been
serena.
spoiled. I've always been happy, serene. Serenity is the key of life.
Serenity. The key to life is serenity. And I don't know if I've got that yet. I got frantic. Seafood, alcohol, cigarettes. I just got frowned at.
Vino.
Oh.
Never drank wine. Ha mai fumato
Acqua.
sigarette? Acqua, water.
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 There was a small part of me that wanted her to say, I drink, I smoke, I don't exercise. But she didn't. It all made perfect sense, didn't it?
What do you think about the world nowadays?
Cosa penso ai nostri giorni? Disastro.
Ha! The world is a disaster. We have bad situation more than beautiful ones.
She's been through 2 world wars, and Italy was affected. Has that affected her? Is this a bit rough to ask? Maybe this question's a bit unfair to ask about the wars. I don't know.
No, well, let's see.
Ho vissuto 2 guerre.
I went through 2 wars.
Yeah.
Quando scappavo al rifugio, quando scappavo al rifugio, portavo il bambino al rifugio.
I remember when I had to run away in the air raid shelter with my little baby. I said, I remember the houses nearby my place falling apart after the bombs bombed out, whereas my house was never destroyed.
Can't we ask one more question? She's been amazing.
Yeah. Meravigliosa.
So good. Just amazing. She said the world was troubled, and she says the world is a mess. What does she think we need to do to make it a better place?
Più amore.
Amore.
Better love. More love.
I
The
got
world
that.
needs more love.
World needs more love. I got that, amore.
Certo che c'è gente cattiva in questo mondo.
There are a
In
lot of
questo
evil
mondo c'è
people,
gente
bad
cattiva.
people around the world. A lot. So we need more love.
Thank you all so much.
Grazie.
So nice. You're my favourite. Hey, I'll tell you what we're going to do now. We're going to do a selfie. Have you got the camera?
A selfie con la nonna.
One more. Oh, you're gorgeous. 15 years of television. That is the best thing I've ever done.
Oh, that's great.
She's amazing. I mean, it's a real privilege, isn't it, to be travelling the world and following your ancestry. But to find someone like that, 110 years and so much to give. When she looked at me, I could tell she was speaking to me. I definitely connected with her, and that's kind of cool.
Bellissimo.
I guess the other thing that kind of got me in knots a little bit was the fact that, you know, she's 110, but my grandmother's 96. And I haven't really spent a lot of time with her since my grandfather passed away, and I've never sat down and asked her, you know, what the secret to longevity, happiness, and where she thought the world was going or what's wrong with it. And I know that if I sat down with Nan, I know it's all there. And I just haven't taken the time to do that.
Not all of our personal histories involve fanciful stories of kings and castles, but our ancestors, whoever they may have been, or whatever battles or demons they may have fought, make us who we are today. And thanks to the DNA detectives, science is reminding us that they are there in our DNA even today. So, who's going to be curious enough to take the test next week? Why don't you tune in and find out?